welcome to another video here with SiRMaLoPerformance. My name is Ivan. Today I'm working on Project SirMalo, but I'll be going over the Lingenfelter TRG-002. What this does is create your 58 times signal to a 24 time signal. It's a conversion module that you'll require for a Generation 4 engine to a Generation 3 PCM, which is back here. I'll move my leg, guys, so you guys can see that. My son Alonso is recording, by the way, so all the shakiness and all that stuff, or a muffled mic audio, could be because of him. But we'll try to keep this video clean and simple. Go ahead, Alonso, let's show him what that Lingenfelter module conversion thing is. So what we have here is going to be a crank in, a cam in, a crank out, a cam out, a power, and a ground. So we'll definitely need to be wiring these things to our engine, harness, and our power supply. So when they mean like crank in and cam in, this cam in, let's start with this guy before we talk about the crank. We're going to separate these cables to the side, to the side, to the side, like this. And this cam in that is really, really long, they designed it so it can reach this front cam sensor that's all the way in the front of your engine. It's no longer on the back. If you have a Generation 3, this cam sensor is going to be located towards the back of that engine, just like the crank that's down there by the starter. So all this is going to do is plug in down here to this cam sensor. If you guys want, I can try to do that for you real quick. I'm going to use this impact driver. That's out. I'm probably going to modify this plate later so I can make sure that I have tension on this cam sensor. So what I'm going to do is, since the old harness is on there for this front cam sensor, you want to remove that. You don't want to use this cam sensor harness that plugs into it. Alonso, if you want to put the flash for them so they can see, let me try to wiggle myself more into here. Can you kind of see? Just move the camera forward. Try not to zoom because then it gets touchy. Alright, so that's out. This cam in, it's labeled from the module. So I'll read cam in. This cam in will plug directly to the cam sensor. Just like so. Oh. Just like so. Again. Just like so. So, now that that's in, if I could, maybe, I would get rid of this thing. And I will. I can just bend that out of the way for the moment. And then I can use this bracket for protection. By the way, I broke this bracket, you guys. I modified it so it can fit. I don't know if I showed it in my other videos. If you guys been following Project SirMalo, maybe you guys noticed that in my other videos. I don't know if I posted it, but I broke this little front bracket just so I can take this sensor out, just in case I need to gain access to it or replace it, because this was the original sensor that came with the engine when I purchased it. Just in case it doesn't work, I'll be able to just take off the bracket without having to undo the very bottom bolt that's behind this crank pulley. So this cam sensor plug it's definitely hooked up directly to that cam sensor. Now it'll be your job whether you want to run it underneath the manifold, which is what I'll be doing, but I'll do that in another video. I'll try to show you guys a glimpse of that. Now, I just want to go over this Lingenfelter, just this TRG-002. The next thing would be the crank in. So what that means is they want the signal from the crank sensor. It would be this pigtail. Just make sure you have the correct one. Go all the way down here where the starter's at. Because your crank sensor should be down here. Okay, right above the starter. Yeah, I don't know if they can see that, but it's because it's red. I painted over it. So it's plugged in, okay guys? Can they kind of see?
Yeah, you can touch it.
Alright, so it's right there, guys. I'm sorry here. I'll try to zoom you guys in personally. Oh. Sorry. Alright, so there's the cam sensor. I plugged it in. I'm gonna give the camera back to Alonso here. Sorry guys. I'm just trying to show you real quick, just so you guys get an idea of what's going on. Obviously this isn't gonna be the final job. I'm not gonna just plug it up and be like, okay, that's good. You know, it'd be sweet to do that, but not right now. So crank out. All that means is same ordeal as the crank in, cam in, but this actually connects to the harness. So this is my crank harness, or crank sensor harness. So this originally plugs into that crank sensor, right guys? But this time, this harness is going to receive the signal from the TRG-002 Lingenfelter, because it's going to create that 58 to 24 conversion. Because why? Like I said, our PCM only reads a 24 times signal. These Gen 4s read a 58 times signal. So we have our crank in to our main sensor. We have our cam in to our main sensor. Now we have our crank out to our crank sensor harness. And now we're going to do the cam out. And that connects to, you guessed it, the cam sensor harness. Doesn't mean we're going to plug it up here in the very front. No. The cam sensor harness is going to be way back here, tucked behind. If you guys saw me install this manifold, I made a video and I was doing the oil pressure sending unit. I don't know if you guys saw that video. If it's not on YouTube, it's because I did not upload it. It's pretty silly. And if it is on YouTube, it's because I uploaded it. Duh. So all I'm doing right now is trying to grab that harness. So since it's not on the passenger side, Alonso, do you want to swing around over here on this side? Yeah. So they could probably see? Here you go. Here, I'm going to take you guys real quick. So that cam sensor harness, if I can move these fuel lines and these evap or valves, return. So this is my hose. Sorry guys. Okay, so this harness on it, that is your cam sensor harness. Remember, on the 5.3, 4.8 Generation 3 GMLSs, this PCM reads a cam signal from the back, not from the front. So this is our Lingenfelter. This was the original harness that would connect to its original location here, but we're not using this. We're getting rid of that. Bypass that. Get rid of it. We have our harness now. we have our signal. All we have to do is now, I'm going to hand the camera over to Alonso because I'm in here in the engine bay, guys, sorry. I'm going to hook up, like I said, TRG-002 Lingenfelter module conversion kit. This again is the cam out. And it hooks up to this harness way back here. Just like that. So there you have it. That's our cam out. And then this is our cam in. Sorry. That's our cam in, cam out. And then on this side, we have, we have our crank sensor hookup, which would be the crank in, crank in. And then this one that connects to the harness should be the crank out. Alright guys. Okay guys, so like I was saying, the crank in, that's hooked up. Our cam in is hooked up. Our crank out is hooked up. Our cam out is hooked up. All of these are now hooked up to their designated area, like I said. Now all we have to worry about is a negative, which is a ground, connected to the chassis, and then our power. It's a 12-volt direct current. That will leave it on at all times. I am going to put it on a switch source because I don't feel like this thing should be powered on continuously. There's instructions on how to install it. Feel free to install them just how Lingenfelter recommends you do it. I will do that, obviously, but I think I'm going to tinker with the idea of putting it on a switch source. Just like a stereo. Whenever I put my key in, put my key forward, once there's power going into it, then this turns on. That way it's not running constantly, doesn't get overheated or doesn't, get run hot all the time. That way I just know it turns on when I'm about to turn on my engine. That's going to be my choice. That's what I'm going to do with this. That's my choice. That's what I'm going to do. But you guys definitely do as the instructions say. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this Lingenfelter product. Like I said, it's a TRG-002. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So cam in, remember, cam in goes to that sensor on the very front, okay? So if it says in, it's because it's going straight to the sensor. If it says out, that's going straight to the harness because that's the signal it's going to receive. All right, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you guys like it.